All right, what's up, my recovery family? Hope you're all doing fantastic. Hope you're having an amazing day, focusing on the positive, ignoring the negative, keeping your ego in check, and practicing humility. Welcome to your Recovery Mentor channel. Just recently changed the name. Today, like I said in my previous video, I want to talk to you about something very important, something that takes people out left and right. And it's not pink and green, it's not what you're thinking, but it's actually unrealistic expectations. Now, these are expectations that we put on another individual or even possibly a place that just don't add up. They're unrealistic. Why are they unrealistic? Because there are expectations put on someone else. So when we put our expectations on someone else, what we're doing is we're setting the bar to our standards on what we expect them to do. And when they inevitably fall short of our expectations, we gain a resentment against them. It's like, well, why didn't you do things this way? Why didn't you do things that way? I didn't expect for you to, screw up and do things in the way that I wouldn't have done them. I expected you to do things in a certain way. Those unrealistic expectations that lead to resentments take most people out. That's what leads to the majority of relapses, in my very humble opinion. So take it with a grain of salt. So how do we avoid this? How do we avoid making unrealistic expectations? Well, first and foremost, we have to come to the conclusion that not everyone thinks like us, not everyone processes like us, not everyone has the same morals and values that we do, not everyone has the same world outlook that we have, and everyone is different, and everyone's entitled to be different. Everyone should be different, right? That's what makes us individuals. That's what gives us our individuality, is that we're all different people. Now, as it pertains to recovery, you also have to understand that you're probably in a different phase of your recovery than the person that you're putting these unrealistic expectations on. Now, a lot of the time, what ends up happening is we get a few days under our belt and we think we know everything. We think we have all the answers. We know how people should be acting and what they should be doing in their recovery because it's working for us. So if it's working for us, then it's got to work for them. And so we do what we call taking someone's inventory, and we tell them what they should be doing differently, why they're screwing up, how they're screwing up, and what they need to do to make it better. But in reality, while we may manipulate ourselves into thinking we're trying to help the person, all we're doing is setting our own expectations upon them. And when they fall short of those expectations, that's when the resentments come into play. Well, if you just would have listened to me, well, if you just would have done things my way, well, if you just would have done this or that or this, then none of that would have happened, right? There's a saying, some are sicker than others. And it sounds kind of condescending, it sounds rude, but it's true. Some people are sicker than others. Some people have a lot more work to do on themselves than you may have to do. And you have to understand that and accept that. That some people just aren't at the same level that you're at. And that's okay, because everyone's exactly where they're supposed to be at this moment in time. And so they may not have the same standards or morals or values that you do. And that's okay too, because everyone grows at a different level. Okay, so I had to do a quick cutaway, but I think you get the picture, right? We can't have unrealistic expectations. So what do we do to combat that? Well, first and foremost, the easiest answer is stop focusing on everyone else. Now, you may think that you may be doing this out of the goodness of your heart, trying to help someone out, and you may be doing that. You may be trying to help someone out with the knowledge that you've gained. However, especially in early recovery, you have to focus on yourself and just yourself. This is a selfish, selfless program. So you need to focus on you first before you start taking anyone else's inventory, because trust me, there is still a lot of work to be done in early recovery. Shit, I got 8 years and I still got a lot of work to be done. I don't know everything. I don't have all the answers, okay? I'm still learning. I'm still remaining coachable and teachable. I'm still remaining open-minded to the fact that I don't have all the answers. I don't know everything. And so I need to continue to focus on myself. Now, while I make these videos to try to give out suggestion and try to give out direction and some education in some way, shape, or form, at the end of the day, what really matters is me. Now, it sounds selfish, it sounds self-centered, but it's true. It's a selfish part of this program, is that we have to come first. What you're really doing when you're taking someone else's inventory is you're distracting yourself. And whether you're doing that consciously or subconsciously, you're doing so you don't have to work on yourself. Because it's a lot easier to point out someone else's flaws than to point out your own. So when we put these unrealistic expectations on people, we're actually diverting attention away from ourselves and onto another so that we don't have to work on ourselves. Then we rationalize and justify it by saying, well, I'm actually trying to help someone, so this is a good thing, so I should continue doing this. Well, in the meantime, we're actually just hurting ourselves in the long run because we're taking time away from us, from the person that's most important, the person who we should be working on, and taking that time and focusing it on another. Now, that's not to say if you see someone that's down and out and having a bad day, it's totally okay to go up to them and check in on them and make sure they're okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But you don't want to turn it into a habit. That could be very, very dangerous. Because like I said, if you're not focusing on yourself the majority of the time, then inevitably you're focusing on someone else. And you're not there to help someone else. You're there to help yourself. That's the selfish part of this program. The selfless part of this program is practicing humility and humbleness. The other thing that we can do to ensure that we don't have unrealistic expectations is practice acceptance. Now, there's a saying in the big book, I forget exactly what page it's on, but it says acceptance is the answer to all of my problems today. Basically, what it's saying is, if I can practice acceptance and come to the conclusion that everything is exactly the way that it should be, whether I like it or not, and I'm able to accept that fact, then that is the answer to all of my problems today. It's just practicing acceptance, practicing the fact that not everyone is going to meet your expectations. Not everyone is going to agree with your expectations, and that's perfectly okay because everyone's in a different part of their recovery, a different part of their life, and it's their journey to live. It's not your job to be the captain of their journey. So let them live their journey, let them live their lives, let them make their own mistakes, okay? That's totally fine. As my sponsor says, sometimes people just need to go experience some more pain before they're ready. So if someone's not taking the program serious, if someone's not taking recovery serious, maybe they just need to go back out there and experience some more pain until it gets them to the point to where they get that gift of desperation and they decide that, hey, maybe I need to take this serious this time around. That's up to them. That's their journey. All of that being said, stay away from unrealistic expectations. Stay away from putting expectations on other people. Remember, we are powerless over people, places, and things. Says so in step 1, more or less. So we can't change anyone. We can't change what they do. We can make suggestions. Trust me, as a sponsor working with sponsees, sometimes it can be incredibly frustrating because I know what this other person should more than likely be doing, but their failure to do so, or their failure to take the knowledge that they've learned and apply it to their life, is very frustrating because I know you can get to this next level of recovery. You can do it. You can get to where you want to get to. You can achieve your goals if you just follow through, if you just apply the information that you've learned. But sometimes it doesn't happen. And that's okay because that's not on me, that's on them. And I have to be okay with that. I have to have a realistic expectation that sometimes people just don't want it. Sometimes people don't want to put in the work. Sometimes people are forced to be in treatment when they don't want to be in treatment in the first place. Sometimes people are just assholes. That's just the way it is. It's the way life, freaking rolls. So, long story short, practice realistic expectations. And the way you do that is by focusing on yourself. Focus on yourself, get right with yourself, get to know the new you who is now clean and sober, a new version of yourself that you may have not met in a very long time. Get to know who you are in your heart of hearts. Get rid of the masks, and I'm not talking about the masks that we wear, for the pandemic and everything. I mean the mask that we wear as a metaphor to try to pretend we're someone we're not. Be yourself, be original, and stay true to that person. Because that's the person that you want to become. It's the person you want to stay. So the other thing with that too is when you're true to yourself, a magic thing happens. All the people that shouldn't be in your life suddenly leave, and all the people that should be in your life suddenly stay. So just be true to you, focus on yourself, stop putting expectations on other people, stop trying to take their inventory, because it's just a distraction technique that we manipulate ourselves into using, and come to the conclusion That acceptance truly is the answer to all of your problems today and mine. Okay? That is what I have for you today. That's the video for today. If you can do that, if you can practice acceptance and you can have realistic expectations and an understanding of what that means and apply it to your life, most important application, then you have a really good shot at staying in recovery long term. Okay, it's baby steps. It's one step at a time. We learn something each and every day. We take that knowledge and we apply it to our lives. And it might not happen overnight. It might take a few days for us to fully absorb that information. But as long as we're moving in the right direction, we're making progress. And as long as we're making progress, we're doing the right thing. We're taking the next right indicated step. And eventually, we're going to achieve our goals. We're going to achieve our aspirations. And we're going to be in the place that we want to be in. But you got to give it time for that to develop. And you got to give yourself a break at certain times and understand that you don't have all the answers, just like I don't have all the answers. But if you remain open-minded and you remain willing to follow suggestion, you will eventually get to where you want to be. Have that ultimate goal for yourself. Set up something big that you can accomplish in a day, a week, or a month. And then, like I said before in a previous video, break that down into smaller goals. Have something that you can continuously work on so that you have direction at all times. Work with your mentor, work with your sponsor so that you can stay consistent with that. And if you have direction, if you have a thorough understanding of what we're talking about with acceptance, with realistic expectations, you're going to have a really good shot at being successful in recovery. Now, in the next video I'm going to point out, the next video I'm going to do, I should say, I'm going to talk to you guys about a social experiment that was done that proves how to get rid of a negative habit and raise your chances of getting rid of that negative habit by up to 40%. That's a pretty dang big number right there, okay? 40% chance to get rid of a negative habit. That includes addiction, that includes alcoholism. So the next video, I'm going to talk about that, how we can improve your chances by a whopping 40%. So that's the next video that I'm going to be posting soon. Until then, guys, continue persevering. Continue to dedicate yourself to this craft called recovery. Continue to work on yourself on an almost daily basis. Remember, self-care is crucial, so take a day off here and there so you can focus on yourself. Do something with that day off. Just don't lay around and be lazy, but actually do something productive, but in a way that's taking care of yourself, if you know what I'm saying. Continue to focus on what is important. Practice acceptance, and you'll get to where you want to get to. All right? God bless each and every one of you. If no one's told you they love you today, you know what I'm about to say. I love you. I got nothing but love for you because you are worthy of love. You are worthy of forgiveness. You are a valuable human being, and you have a ton of potential because you have gifts that no one else has. As an addict or an alcoholic, you are blessed and cursed with the obsession of the mind. And when you put that to good use, nothing can stop you. Nothing can get in your way, and you are capable of accomplishing the biggest goals, the biggest aspirations that you can think of. I'm living proof that that's true. All right. Until the next video, guys, be safe, be smart. Peace out.